Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me. I can't believe that I'm actually talking to you because I grew up watching Wizards. So it's really nice to get to see what you're doing now and obviously get to talk to you because I was a huge fan. We have the partnership with Hypespace that you're working on right now. How did you connect with the app? Because I feel like it's fairly new. Not a lot of people know about it yet.
One of the folks over there is a guy named Randy Greenberg. He's the CEO. He's a good friend of mine. I've known for a long time in the industry, and he's an awesome producer, and we've collaborated on lots of different things. And he's just a like-minded thinker. I think both of us try to use our skills to, in some way, shape, or form, entertain and elevate those around us. You know, him and I are both, I think, deeper thinkers in that sense. And he told me all about this app and all the good that they're doing, and I checked it out. And of course, wanted to help raise some awareness and some funds for the Anna Schindler Foundation, which is near and dear to my heart, in helping childhood cancer. I have little kids now, so you know, they've never suffered anything that traumatic, but I've always been, even from my Disney days, I was always very involved in hospitals that had units for childhood cancer. And I would always visit those kids and spend time with the families. And I always had a heart for, you know, that in particular. And especially being a parent now, it's even more powerful and on my mind even more. And so the Anna Schindler Foundation is an incredible nonprofit that helps provide housing and financial services and spiritual services to those who are going through that. The cancer in particular, childhood cancer, can be really, really costly and really expensive. And not only that, there's great distances that families have to travel. So if you don't happen to be near the hospital, if you live a state away or a town away or, you know, hours away, where do you stay when your kid's going through treatment? And a lot of times treatment can be months or years. I mean, it just depends on what the diagnosis is and how they're treating it. But the actual logistics of where do you stay during all of that, especially if you have other kids, you have a husband, wife, you got a whole family, where do you stay during all of that? And it can be very costly having to get housing. It can also take people away from their jobs, which is helping, you know, take care of these services and pay for these services. So what I love about the Anna Schindler Foundation is they're building houses near the hospital to give families a place that feels like home away from home.
And now with this challenge, people just have to make a magic trick or something kind of related with wizards, and then they could, you know, obviously do it for a good cause. So you have to tell me about what the challenge is and what people have to do.
Yeah, there's some really cute ones out there. So we're trying to think of something fun and engaging that fans could do to bring a lot of awareness to the Anna Schindler Foundation and raise some funds. And Randy and I were kind of spitballing a little bit, and I just brought up one of the fun things we used to do on Wizards of Waverly Place, which was the writers would write clever spells, and the spells would just be random stuff, but they always rhymed and they had a fun story behind them. Like one of the spells was Edge Bono Utusis, which is, you know, the band U2 and Edge and Bono Utusis. So the spells weren't like literal spells. They were always fun and lighthearted and had a funny story behind them. One of them was McReary Time Reary, which was the writer Gigi McReary on the show. It was her name, and it was a spell involving time. So we always did fun spells on the show. So the challenge is basically for any fan to come up with their own spell. The more inventive, the more fun, the better. And submit it to Hypespace, and you get the most claps. So the way you vote on Hypespace is you click the clap button, so like you're applauding that challenge. And the person who's the most original, the most fun, most engaging, who has the most claps, they're going to be the winner, and they get flown out to a golf tournament with me at the Anna Schindler Foundation golf tournament. And there's some really cute ones on there. I'm cracking up watching them, and I'm clapping along the way as well.
Oh, that's so awesome. Now, I'm curious though, is there any spell from the show that you wish you could use in real life now?
You know, all of them really. Like the McReary Time Reary one was good because that lets you mess with time, and I think the ability to do things over is always needed in life. None of us are perfect, especially me. So I would love some do-overs. Was there any spell that you remember from the show? You said you were a fan. Is there anything that you remember that you're like, I want that? That would be my jam.
It was like the McReary Time Reary I remember. And I also remember the one where Selena, I don't remember the name, but she duplicated herself. And then Jake was like, oh, I'd like to use that, to give myself a wedgie. That one I remember. And that was really funny.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of that one. I know what you're talking about. I think she even went like this, pointed at herself.
Yep.
remember what that was, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
I love it. And it's crazy that I'm talking to you today because I actually spoke to Jennifer and David yesterday about the podcast. So it's like a whole Wizards week for me. I know that they are doing the podcast. Are you going to be on it? Can you talk about that?
At some point, yeah, for sure. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I would love to be on it. I love them. They're awesome people. And yes, I'll definitely be on it at some point. I think we just got to, I'm not in LA anymore. I moved recently. So we're trying to figure out the scheduling of it all. But yes, I'll definitely be on the podcast. They're so sweet. I love them.
And I know like you're doing a subscribe thing too, where you're kind of going through some of the episodes or any of the scenes. So how's that for you? Because Jen said that she never watched any of the episodes. Like she's just watching them back now for the first time. So I'm curious for you.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to give back to fans and give them a little, insights and behind the scenes and whatnot, and make them smile. Looking back on it, it dealt with some really, I think, powerful themes about the fact that family can be chaotic, but at the end of the day, family is there for you. Family sticks together. And I've had a lot of encounters with fans in the past where they've come from broken families, and the show gave them hope that maybe one day they could start their own family, and there'll be a sense of stability that maybe they didn't have. But it's a powerful theme, whether you have a together family or a broken family. It's a powerful theme that there is something that exists that can have your back and can stay there. And if I don't have it now, maybe I'll have it one day, or I'll get it one day.
Oh, absolutely. And it's crazy to think, that was over 10 years ago. I think it was almost 15 years ago that you guys first aired. That literally
Since it started has been over 15 years.
I know.
Crazy.
I know. It's literally changed your life. Like, did you ever think when you went in for like the chemistry reads, or even when you got the role that, 15 years later, everyone would still be talking about it?
No idea. No clue. I mean, you're just making it, and you think it's, you think it's good when you're doing it. I mean, you're having fun and people are reacting positively, but the momentum that it gained even after the show finished, it's even more relevant now than when I was actually doing it. Like, I'm getting stopped more now than I ever have in my life, because I think all the kids watching it are now young adults like yourself. And so I'm hearing a whole nother perspective, and I'm getting more attention now than even when the show was on. It's crazy.
Now, I know your kids are still young, and I know they've kind of seen a little bit of the scenes, but do they know like that dad was a famous Disney Channel star back in the day? Are you going to tell them eventually?
It's really funny. We'll put on some scenes from the show, and they'll be looking at it like, there's Papa. And then they'll look at me and be like, there's Papa as well. What is going on here? And they'll look back and forth, but it's funny because I showed my daughter the movie, the Wizards movie, and she there's a scene in there where I get pulled into like quicksand, and it's, hilariously dramatic. And I'm of course overacting. My daughter like burst into tears thinking I was dying, because she's only 3. She's like, she thought I was getting like killed and sucked into quicksand. She goes, Papa, no, Papa. Like, she freaked out. And that was sad. So I quickly changed it to another scene that was more fun. Okay. But now I realize I have to be careful when showing them the show, because they can't understand that it's just it's not real. Like
I said before, I spoke to Jen and David yesterday, and they talked about a potential reunion. They said that it's pretty much all ready to go, and they just kind of need Selena on board because she's busy. So I'm curious for you, are you on board with this? And if so, where would you like to see Justin now?
I think we all had such a good time doing the show, and we were like a family, both on and off camera. So I think, I would definitely be game. I think it's just about, the right time and the right idea and all that. I think Justin would go on to have a family and his own kids, and so I'd be curious if he's still in the Wizard world, or if he's left that behind and where he's at. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of ways you could go.
Oh, absolutely. And is there maybe something you took away just from the whole experience? Because I know you guys did over 100 episodes. You did the movie. What was it, like 5-6 years that it was on the air? What did you take away from the whole experience?
I mean, many things, professionally and personally, many things. Professionally, it was, blast to act in, and gained me all sorts of experience in front of the camera and off the camera. I got to write for the show too. So I had my first professional writing job. So professionally, I learned a ton, and personally, I think I made friends, that I'll have for the rest of my life. Selena and I are still very close. Her and I are probably closest. Her and I are probably the closest in the cast, and you know, she's Auntie Selena to my kids, and I still keep in touch with everyone, but her and I in particular kept that brother-sister bond going. And then, you know, just the power of family and how beautiful family is, and how it's this representation of this unit that will always have your back and always be there for you. It's such a stable and foundational thing, and it can be chaotic, it can be crazy, but at the end of the day, they have your back. You know, now that I have my own family, I think about that a lot.
Anything else that we should be on the lookout for with you, or maybe any acting projects? Or are you busy in Idaho with the family? Curious of what 2023 is like.
I directed a film called Boys of Summer, which will be coming out this year at some point. The date is not set, but that's a really fun one that I got to direct, and it's kind of Stranger Things meets The Goonies, about a group of kids teaming up with a detective to hunt a witch who's moved onto their island, and the witch is like prowling on children. So it's family friendly, but it's got a little witchy genre to it. So it's kind of like, it's Stranger Things, Goonies, almost Hocus Pocus. Mel Gibson's the detective, and then you have Martin Bracco in it, and then Mason Thames, the star of Black Phone, is the lead kid. You got Kevin James in there a little bit too, who did us a favor and came out and had some fun with us. So yeah, it's a really fun film that I'm really excited for people to see.